All right, here we go. Sammy the Bull, welcome back.
My pleasure, bro.
Interview number 2.
Yes, it's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a few years. And what people don't actually know is that the first interview almost didn't happen.
Right.
We had a little bit of an argument.
Yes.
Before things started.
Right.
You were getting ready to walk out. I was ready to let you walk out. And your granddaughter actually got in the middle of it.
Yep. Zaza, yeah.
Exactly. She was a peacekeeper in this whole situation.
Was a peacekeeper. She worked everything out. She calmed everything down. So, yeah. Well, I remember. I don't remember the actual argument, but I do remember.
Right.
We got a little hot.
Yeah, a little bit. And I know when I mentioned that story, people always ask me if I was scared. And I'm like, no, I wasn't scared. It was just business.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, no, I don't think he was scared either. He didn't know I had a gun.
All right, let's get into it. Now, there's a couple things that we didn't get to cover last time, and one of which was the whole Arizona situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about kind of what led into all this. So, in 1994, you got released from prison and you entered the witness protection program. And they kind of hopped you around different places before you ended up in Arizona. So where did you go initially in witness protection?
When I got out, I think I told you before, I wasn't going to stay in there. I had money. I didn't want to change my name. I didn't want to do any of these things. And the government called me up and said, listen, Sammy, the government did you right. You were involved in 19 murders. You wound up getting a 5-year sentence. And if you don't go in the program, they're going to look like shit. So give them some time, give them something so they could pound their chest. And so I agreed to giving them 1 year. And when I started, I went down to Houston, Texas. Mm-hmm. And I was there for maybe 2 weeks. I didn't have any ID or anything. I was around the hotel all the time. And I guess they had other people who had cooperated. And they wanted to move me just so I don't bunk into them or whatever. And they moved me to Dallas. Mm-hmm. So I stayed at Dallas for a while. Same exact thing happened. And then they moved me to Colorado. And I was in Colorado for a while. And an agent came over to me and said, why don't you go out? Because I was in the hotel most of the time. And I said, well, I don't have a license. I don't know the area, so where would I go? What would I tell the cab driver? I don't have a car. So, and then they said, listen, you want to take a ride this weekend? Have you ever been to Boulder, Colorado? So I said, no, I was never there. So I said, but yeah, I'll take a ride and we'll go there. And we did. We drove around. It was beautiful. I got out of prison. I was in good shape. I worked out. I jogged all the time. And there was paths with people jogging and a river flowing, and it was beautiful. Right up my alley. I see kids, a lot of kids, young college kids. And so there was a place we passed and it had for rent signs on it. And I asked the marshal, I says, could we stop here and just see what the story is? And we did. So we went in, they showed us around. It had a country club with a full-blown gym, in-the-ground pool, basketball court, racquetball courts. It was really, really nice. So I says, could I see the apartments, what it looks like? And they said, do you want to be over the river or do you want to be in the woods, in the boonies a little bit? So I said, over the river. What's that like? Let me see that. And they took me to an apartment. We opened the sliding doors. It was a bullshit little apartment, 1 bedroom, living room, small little kitchen area, and the stove and all of that on the side. And when you opened the door, I walked out on the patio and the water came right up until the building and about 60, 70 feet wide, a river flowing down. And somebody, while I was out there looking, was coming down on these little canoes or whatever it is, shooting down there. Right across, there was jogging paths and people walking dogs and people jogging. And I said, oh, wow. I looked at the marshal. I said, yeah, I like this place. And he gave me the nod. I rented the place, and that's where I was staying. I loved it. I walked around and I went into the areas. And it's a lot of colleges in that area, ton of fucking college kids all over the place. And I went places there. It was a little boring at first because every table had 4 or 5 people. I'm sitting at the bar or at a table by myself. And one day I'm sitting at the bar. I got a steak. I got a whole thing. I went to go to the bathroom. There was a girl sitting behind me. She was in her mid to 20s. It didn't look like she was that young. And on the way back, she had a pen and she was drawing. She was sitting by herself. And I looked at it and I said, wow, that's beautiful. I do artwork. And I said, that's beautiful. I said, what are you going to college? She said, no, I have finished college. I came back and I'm doing design work and stuff like that. And she said, you're sitting at the bar? And I said, yeah. She said, would you like to sit with me? And I sat with her and started hanging around. She took me around, and I bullshitted about my name. I had a different name.
You were Jimmy Moran?
Yeah, they named my name Jimmy Moran, so I had a different name. I was never married. I didn't have kids. I give it all. You got to lie about all that stuff when you're in the program.
Yeah.
And so she took me to places, and we hung out for a while, and we went around. And after I was there almost six more months, which gave me about 8 months in, and the phone rang one day, and she saw me on television.
Okay.
So I didn't know who it was, but I heard a woman's voice say, now I know who you are. And she hung up on me. And the next day, the marshals called me up and they were going to come to my apartment. They wanted to talk to me. When they came in, by this time I had a car. It was snowing a little bit. On my windshield, there was a note from her to me. They got it. They read it. And on my door, there was another note. And they got that. And they came in and they said, Sammy, she knows who you are. And it said in the note, I fell in love with you. You lied to me. You were married and you had kids. So they said, we're going to take you to Seattle, Washington, and you start all over. I said, no. I promised you a year. I got 8 months in. I don't care if she knows. It don't matter to me. I'm not worried about it. But that's the rules. I don't care about the rules. My rule is I was giving you a year. He says, well, then you would have to sign out. Then give me the papers. I sign out, which I did. I got the papers. I signed out. And I left Colorado and went to Arizona with my family. And that's where I wrote the book, Underboss.
Mm-hmm.
And I never saw her again. And that's the way it worked. That was my little time in there. And when I got back to Arizona, when I signed out, I actually turned my name back to Salvatore Gravano again.
So when you're on witness protection, they give you a whole new identity. So do you have a new social security number and everything?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I
So
had
you
a
have a new social
driver's
security,
license.
a new driver's license.
Yes.
And do they give you money?
Well, they paid the bills.
Okay. So your rent, your electricity, that type of
everything like that. And they gave me a few dollars for pocket money. But I had my own money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I didn't even want to go in the program. I had a ton of money. So I didn't need the amount of money. Matter of fact, they wanted to give me $3,500 to buy a car. And I went
$3,500.
Yeah.
Which is what, like a
So I took the
an
$3,500.
old Honda Civic maybe?
Yeah. It's nothing. But I took the $3,500 and I bought a Ford Bronco or something like that, a Jeep. But the rest of it, I used my own money. I think the truck was $20,000 or something like that.
Right.
So I put in the other 16 and change, and I bought, the vehicle myself.
Right. So no one's living large in witness protection, basically.
Well, some are. Some they think they are. I mean, some guys go in there and they think that they're going to get, they'll get a dental care, they'll get taken care of medically. They don't have the whereabouts to make money. I had the whereabouts to make money. I was writing a book. I had money. I had a couple of million. So I really wasn't interested in their money.
You had a couple of million.
I felt...
Hold on. You had a couple of million.
Oh, absolutely. I had about 3-4 million.
Wow. So they let you keep that. They didn't try to seize it or
They
anything.
never took it. They never even asked for it, so I wasn't going to volunteer.
Okay.
So, but I told them I had my own money, the marshals.
Yeah.
But the government, when I cooperated, never took it, never asked me about it. And it's not peculiar. When John Gotti and people got convicted, they didn't ask them, you have money, we're going to take your money. They didn't ask them. Why would they ask me? I'm cooperating.
Now you're living in Arizona. You turn your name back to your real name. And then your wife moves back in? Because you got divorced at one point, right?
I got divorced in 1991, before all this happened.
Aha. So did your wife, your ex-wife, move back in with you?
No. She lived in a house with my daughter. I lived in an apartment by myself. I got an apartment in a pretty tough, when I first got there, my family said, my son and my daughter, they got me an apartment. It was a fancy thing. It was on the second floor, spiral staircase going up, beautiful. My car had a spot, your own spot, all kinds of landscaping around it. And I went and looked at the apartment. I called my kids in and I said, listen, I appreciate it, but it's not good. So they said, why? And I showed them. When I walk down the stairs and I get to the bottom, I can't see who's over here. And it's a death trap.
Yeah.
And when I get to the car, there's so much lush landscaping, I can't see if somebody's sitting right in front of me. I can't stay here.
Why did your wife divorce you? Because she'd been through all the craziness with you.
Yeah. Well, a lot of stories came out, things I did. There was a contract with her brother.
Yeah.
And she just, I'm not going to get deep into that, but she left me.
So it was over that.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay, got it. All right, so you're in Arizona and you start a swimming pool installation company.
I started 4 or 5 different companies.
Okay. What else outside the swimming pool company?
I had a pool company, a construction company, an installation company. About 4 or 5 companies I started.
How do you run that many companies?
I've done that all my life. If you look at my history, when I was in the mafia, I had 4, 5, 6 legitimate construction businesses, and I ran the mob. I became the underboss, and I ran unions. I multitask. I'm doing that right now as we speak. I'm working in a bunch of different areas, and people would say, I'm doing so many things. They'll say, how are you going to do an interview with Vlad?
Yeah.
But I'm here, and I'm doing an interview with you.
Okay, so you are living in Arizona. You have your real name now. Your family's around. You're writing a book. And then you start doing interviews, the biggest of which is the Diane Sawyer interview.
Yes.
And that was a huge deal because that was your first ever interview at that time?
Yes.
You were recently witness protection. There's money on your head because of the whole cooperation thing, against the Gambinos and some of the other crime bosses. Why did you decide to do something as high profile as Diane Sawyer?
Why? I mean, I don't know. I was doing a book. I talked with Peter Moss, and he thought it was a good idea. When I was in prison, I was introduced to Peter Moss to do a book when I got out. Who did it was ABC. Producers there were friendly with the government, and I became friendly with them. They introduced me to Diane Sawyer. They were doing me a lot of favors before I got out. When I got out, they asked, you're doing a book. They introduced me to Peter Moss. They helped me a lot, and they wanted to do an interview. And they did help me a lot, so why not?
Okay. What happened after that interview came out, though?
Well, I blew up.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a tremendous amount of views. Nothing negative. Eventually, something happened. Eventually, but it was later on, a hit team came down looking for me.
Mm-hmm.
They found me. I was always ready for them. And some of the guys who were on that were in my crew. And this guy, Huck, and he said, I'm not going near Sammy. He knows what I look like. I'll guarantee you he has a gun. I guarantee he's not going to run, and he's going to look to kill us. The guy who didn't know me, who was going to do it, it kind of scared the shit out of him. He didn't want to come near me either. So they sat with it for months and months and months, and they couldn't get it. They couldn't find a spot. You know, let me just go back 1 second, that when I moved out of that fancy apartment, I went with my daughter, I was looking around, and I found a place in a pretty rough neighborhood, a Mexican neighborhood. And when I looked around that spot, I kind of liked it. It was like prison in a way, brick walls. I said, this fits my needs. I'm comfortable here. I could see everything around me, and I'm comfortable. I'm a hit guy. So it was good. I could see anything that's going to happen. I got a little bit of an advance notice. So when I lived there, when I was moving in there to that, I think it was the first day I was moving stuff in, I hear shots. I turn around, I have a pistol, I take it out, and I look by the door, and there's a black guy running, and 1 or 2 Mexican guys chasing him and shooting at him. They're dealing drugs from this spot, pot, or whatever they're dealing. And this guy's maybe trying to rip him off. I don't really know the story, but that's what happened. I go back in, it's none of my business. But unknown to me, the apartment right next to me in his yard was the head of this Mexican group. And it was his guys. And I came back the next day, completing the move, and a couple hours later, I was getting in my car, and I see this pretty tall, well-built Mexican guy walking towards me. I took the gun out. I put it right up against the door, cocked it. When he came in, I opened the window. I said, how can I help you? And he said, you were here yesterday moving in. I know you sort of heard the shots. I saw you come by this door, and you were watching it. And the cops, when they came and talked to you, you said you didn't hear nothing, you didn't see nothing. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. And he left. I put the gun away. Another day later, he came back again, and he walked up to my car, same situation. And he said, I know who you are. He said, you're Sammy the Bull. And then he said, listen, we're having a little barbecue, my family, all the guys, come over, meet us. He said, let me tell you something, this is my spot. I got 4 or 5 guys here, backup guys and stuff. If you're not coming here in this alleyway to buy drugs, you're either a cop, and we harass the shit out of them so bad that they show their badges. If there's anybody looking for you, and they're not looking to buy drugs, then I'm making it out of this alleyway. I took it as almost like a protection thing. It was good for me.
Yeah.
So I decided, I spoke with my wife. I got some Italian sausage and bullshit like that. I went to the party. I didn't think they would do anything. Their wives, their mothers, their kids were there. I said, I'm going to go in there. She said, you going in with a gun? No, I'm not going to do that. He's there with his family. It's disrespectful. I went in there. I ate with them, met them all. When I would come home 12, 1 o'clock at night, I would come in the alley, park my car. I had a brand new Lexus, never got touched. And I was coming into my yard, I would see guys on the side. And they're standing there, they bang their chests, giving me a sign, like, you know. And so they loved me. I became one. I wasn't one of them in their mob, but I became one of them, accepted by them. So I was sitting real cool there. When I got arrested in that apartment, I had a .357 Magnum. I'd lay down with my dog, go to bed. I was by myself. And I got busted. They were on my indictment. There's 5 other guns loaded in every part of, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, in the living room. I knew there was guns everywhere that were loaded. Thinking, when they come down, mob guys, I'm ready. And I'm going to duke it out. I figured John Gotti would sooner or later would send somebody. And like I said, I'm a hit guy. I'm ready for it. So, and that's in my indictment. I got 5 guns and a .357 that I'm sleeping with. Matter of fact, the day I got busted, my dog is growling, a little 6-pound dog, Min Pin. But he knew something was going on. I got up, I went by the blinds with the gun, I moved the blinds a little bit, and there's 10 fucking police cars, helicopters, and I'm about to get arrested for this ecstasy shit.
Okay, so let's talk about this ecstasy thing for a second. Now, your son Gerard, he's living in Arizona as well.
Yes.
And me and him had a conversation this morning. I got a few little, piece of information about what really happened. And I guess he had gotten into a whole bunch of credit card debt.
He did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like $50,000 in debt. And in order to get out of this debt, he decides to sell some drugs. And I guess he was going to go back to New York to do a drug deal, but you kind of freaked out because that's where you're from and that's where, all your connections are. So he agreed to actually do the drug deals in Arizona. And he borrowed the money from you?
I freaked out, period, that he was even doing drugs, let alone going back to New York.
Yeah.
Which was the stupidest move you could make. Now, you're going to bring my name, you're my son over there. And if they want to do something to hurt me, they're going to maybe hurt you.
Well,
so
probably kidnap him or something,
that.
right? Yeah.
Right. Or hurt him.
Yeah.
So he was going to stay there. And then later on, I was running my pool businesses and all my businesses. So later on, he had a couple of kids he was running around with, partners with. And one day I came in the house and they were counting up money. And one of the guys said, Mr. Gravano, here, that's yours. I said, what is it? Money. It was a little stack. For what? For the pills we're selling. I said, no thanks. I'm not interested in the pills. I'm not interested in the money. And I freaked out about that. And I left. I grabbed my son and I said, listen, you got to stop this. I'm on parole. You got to stop it. I don't want you doing that. I got businesses here. Jump in. There was a kid, Mike Papa. He could have jumped in. Smart kid. And he said, Dad, we're all broke. So how was I going to stop him? He's not a baby, and they're not kids. So I devised a stupid plan. I thought it was a smart plan. I said, how about, found out that they were buying it for $7.50, selling it for $15.20, ecstasy pills. And they're selling 5,000 pills or 10,000 pills like this. So I said, how about if I fund a couple of big moves where you buy 50, 60, 70, maybe 100,000 pills. And you just make the money. I want my money back plus interest. Vic, like a Sherlock.
How much interest?
Well, a Sherlock loan. Undetermined at that particular point.
Okay.
One of the kids said we could put 50 cents a pill on it because they're going to be able to buy it cheaper, and we'll give him that. I don't want an end of the drugs. I want interest, Sherlock loan. So, and you do 4 or 5 deals. Use all years you got your pockets full, right? Yeah. And you quit. You come to work with me and my businesses in construction and the pool company. I could put you in business, but you can't be around me and deal drugs. You have to stop.
I mean, prior to this, when you were with the Gambinos, did you ever deal in drugs at all?
No.
Right, because remember there was that big no-no. I mean, that's actually how John Gotti got in trouble initially,
Yeah.
right? Because he was dealing drugs and the Gambino boss said no drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So you yourself never dealt with drugs up to this
Not
point.
because of Paul Castellano's order. I did not like, they were dealing in heroin and stuff like that. I didn't like the people you were forced to deal with.
Okay.
I had enough money. I was in construction businesses. I was a Shylock. I had $1.5 million money in the street on Vig. That's bringing in almost $40,000 a week. I don't need drugs.
Got it.
So I never dealt drugs. Now, I'll give you another example to show what I cared about the ecstasy. One of his friends, he'll know his name, a Colombian kid, has a connection where they make the actual ecstasy in Europe. They get in touch with me. They want me to buy. They want to overprint and give me 1 million pills
Okay.
for 50 cents a pill.
So $500,000.
$500,000, $250,000 up front. They deliver it. They give it to me. I got it. They get the other $250,000. All legit. Now remember, they were paying.
Well, legit, you know.
Well, legit.
Whatever you call legit
in that way.
In that world, yeah.
But he's got $7.50 a pill. I'm paying 50 cents. If I tack on $4 a pill, it costs them $4.50. They're paying $7.50. They're making a fortune.
Millions of dollars.
But I refused.
Yeah.
And my son, I don't know if he told you, he said, Dad, why would you not do it? I said, because the first deal I make, I invest this money, I get it back, I make $4 to $5 million overnight.
Yeah.
Month, maybe more. I'm not going to stop. I'm a gangster. I'm a thief. I'm not going to stop. It's too easy. I'm hooked. I will do it again, and I will do it again until I go to prison for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm out on parole and everything. So I'm not going to make the first move. I want you to deal with it. I'm funding it for you. Quit and come in with me. But unbeknownst to me, they were under investigation for quite a while, almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally say that to them, I walk smack into a whole investigation.
Let me ask you a question. At the point that you saw that your son is about to get into this drug dealing situation, you're on parole. You could have said, I don't want anything to do with this. You're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have never went to prison.
No.
Right?
Right. Exactly.
You would not have been part of this investigation. There'd be no wiretaps. There'd be no nothing. I'm on parole. This is too hot for me. I cannot touch this. I love you. We'll figure out a way. I mean, well, because if he's in debt, you're sitting on millions of dollars. You technically could just pay off his debt, right? So why risk your freedom to finance a drug deal when you could just say, no,
well,
I'll just pay off your debt?
I'm doing is financing. I'm not any part of it.
Yeah, but
I'm
you're
not
still
buying,
part of it.
I'm not selling.
Yeah, but you're smart enough to know that you're still a part of it.
Yeah, and I don't know there's an investigation. I figured 3-4 deals, it's over.
Yeah.
He's all got your money. I'm not going to finance all these kids. I'll finance my son's problem.
Got it.
But I'm not going to and now he's stuck with his friends. He's not going to walk away. So I come up with this ingenious, idiotic plan. So, and I get roped in. But, you know, if he told you as the investigation goes on in courts, the questions was asked by the government. Did he buy the drugs? No. Did he sell the drugs? No. Did he go out with you guys? They're way younger than me. No. He never went out with us. Another reason, the kid Mike Papa's younger brother is in a group, the Devil Dogs, a racist group.
Right.
Banging heads with black people. Let me finish.
Okay.
My granddaughter's biracial. I don't want to have nothing to do with this fucking kid. I don't even want him around me.
Okay.
So I want nothing to do with them, these kids, basically.
Right. Well, I talked to your son about the Devil Dogs.
What did he say?
He said there was actually a high school wrestling team and not really a gang. And it was basically painted in the media that this is this hardcore gang, but it's really just a bunch of wrestlers or ex-wrestlers that would just go out and party and whatever else.
But they had a racist background.
Okay, I didn't know that.
They had a racist background.
You didn't mention that part, yeah.
Yeah, well, they did.
Yeah.
And I didn't want them anywhere near me. My granddaughter is biracial.
Exactly.
I don't want them anywhere. And I'm not going to hurt them, but I don't want them near me.
Yeah.
So that's I don't even know them. So they can't testify against me. They can't do anything.
And your son said that, you know, he had a crew of guys that were all like cage fighters and they're all steroided up.
Yeah, yeah.
And they would go out and basically rob drug dealers.
Right.
Was Sean Atwood someone that you got to know at this point? Or
no, I never knew him.
You never knew him at all?
No.
Okay. because he apparently was the main competitor in this Arizona ecstasy market.
Right.
He said at one point that some guys from either your crew or your son's crew tried to kill him, so he basically just stopped drug dealing and tried to lay low until he finally got busted.
Someone representing himself as the Bulls. I'm sorry, they tricked my top sales guy into a nightclub, knocked his teeth out. We learned it was people who were representing themselves as Sammy The Bull's crew. And we had to take security precautions because this guy was right under me. My thing was, if someone right under me got hit, I'm next.
Right.
So I moved into this gated guarded community, Sinvacus.
Yeah, I don't know if they tried to kill him, but they were bullying him. They were putting pressure on him. But they did that all over the place. But and what really hurt me is they were using my name. So, like Sean Atwood, you know, I heard conversations with him. I talked with him later on, and he said, Sammy, it was never you, but it was them coming around.
Using
it
your
was
name.
Sammy the Bull's crew.
Aha.
I think you're sending them. I didn't send them
Yeah.
to bother you. But he knows that, and he knows it now. And he's in an interview that I'm supposed to be shutting my mouth, but I'm not. But that he talks about it himself.
Yeah, we've interviewed him before.
Yeah.
He found out later on that, you were just a financer, but at the time,
And
you're
I
right.
was
They
just
were
a
like,
name. Now they're going around and bullying people using my name.
Right.
So when you're fucking with somebody, you're thinking I'm sending them, which I didn't. I don't know Sean Atwood from a hole in the wall. I don't know who's buying the drugs. I don't know who's selling the drugs. And I wouldn't get involved with it.
Yeah. Was the Mexican mafia kind of in the mix as well during this time?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you ever have to deal with them directly or no?
No.
Okay.
Like I told you, that one kid, he was Colombian, with Colombian mafia. I told you I lived in the neighborhood right where I got busted with all them Mexican guys.
Aha.
And I was close with them the whole time.
Got it.
And key is, they never got in trouble. I never got in trouble.
Yeah.
Because they didn't open their mouths and talk and get in trouble. And I wasn't doing anything like that with them. They knew I had their back as far as shutting up and I don't see nothing, I'm blind. They, and they had my back doing the same thing. But that's our only relationship.
Got it. Now, at one point, the way this got tied up to the whole New York situation was the Israeli mafia, a guy named Elon Zaga. Who was that?
Elon Zaga is an Israeli gangster, and he ran the ecstasy business in New York. And one day, my son came to me, and they beat up 2 drug dealers in a place. And these drug dealers belonged to this guy. And so I said, it's a bad thing you're doing that, beating up a guy, and leave it alone. Did you straighten it out? Is it over? No. Well, make an appointment with them. I want you guys it was an argument in a joint. You had a fist fight. Nobody really got hurt bad. I want you to shake hands and walk away. I want to have it in my head that this is done. It's over. Nobody's walking around with a heart on for one another. There's too many guns down here. So I make an appointment with these 2 drug dealers. And they come and sit down with me. And I have this conversation with them. I bring this kid Papa over, Mike Papa, and a few guys. I make them shake hands. It's over. Done. And then I understood they came to my wife's restaurant and met people there to deal drugs, which I didn't know. So at the end of the conversation, when they shook hands, I said, listen, I want you to do me a favor. Now that this is over, you're welcome to come to my wife's restaurant, but not to deal drugs here. I don't need that kind of heat. Don't deal drugs here in my wife's restaurant. And one of them said, we have permission. For what? You have permission to deal drugs in my wife's restaurant. Yeah. Who's giving you permission? He says, Zaga, with the Israeli mafia. Somebody, I can't remember his name, in Vegas. And then a woman in California. She's a big name woman. I forgot her name. She was a hooker at one time, or a madam at one time. So that's what they're telling me. And I said, listen, I changed my mind. I don't want you to come to the restaurant. And I don't want you in Arizona anymore. I don't give a fuck about the Israeli mafia that brought it in California or your fucking friend in Vegas. If I see or hear you're in Arizona, anywhere in Arizona, I'll fucking kill you. They left. They went to New York. They explained the situation to Zaga. At the table with Zaga, there was another guy, a confidential informant, who was wired and heard the whole conversation.
Right. So now you're tied into this whole case.
Now because I told him, fuck the Israeli mafia. I own Arizona. I don't give a fuck what they say.
I'm not really familiar with the Israeli mafia. Is that a real big organization or?
No, not to me. I don't know if it is or it isn't. I didn't give a damn what. I didn't care what it was.
Well, speaking of the restaurant, at one point, 2 feds showed up at this restaurant and they were sent by Steve Wynn.
Yes.
You know the story?
Gerard was there. That's how you know the story, right?
Correct. Tell me what happens.
Well, it was my son's restaurant. That whole thing disappeared, what I was just talking about. 2 agents, ex-agents, big name agents. I can't remember the name, but he's a big name. And he came and talked to me. He says, I'm retired. I work for Steve Wynn.
Who owns the Wynn casinos in Las Vegas?
Who owns the Wynn casinos? Billionaire.
Yeah.
He had casinos even in Atlantic City. Trump moved into Atlantic City and was his competitor, and now is going to go to Vegas and open up his casinos. So these agents wanted me to tell them something about Trump so that they can go in front of the gaming commission and he wouldn't be able to get a license in Vegas and he would lose his license in Atlantic City.
Got it. So they wanted you to say that Trump was somehow tied to the mafia because when it comes to these gaming licenses, if you're at all mafia affiliated, they'll just shut you down.
Right.
Because basically the mafia started the casinos in Vegas to begin with, so they don't want a piece of that. And I remember you talked in one of your interviews about how at one point, back before, you got busted, you actually tried to press up on Trump, but you could never get to him.
Yeah.
Because he had ex-FBI agents all around him?
All the time. And I tried a couple of times to press him and make arrangements where I could work with him and earn with him. I did that with other big contractors. I had the power of the unions. I could do all kinds of little things, but I couldn't get to him. He wouldn't bite. He just wouldn't bite. He didn't want to do anything like that. And there was layers of people in the middle. One of my guys said, we'll go up to the office. I said, we'll go up to the office. Everybody around him is an ex-FBI agent. We'll go up to the office, we'll get cuffed, and we'll go right to prison. So forget about Trump. He's a legitimate guy. He don't want to do it. Forget about Trump.
Yeah.
We're not doing it. We can use Tishman and everything that we're doing and do what we're doing. But let me get back to that thing with those 2 agents.
Got it.
So they said, Sammy, it's very important to Steve Wynn. Very important. Tell us something, anything. And I said, you want me, if I lie, I'll tell you a lie? Come on, Sammy, we're ex-agents. Well, I just told you I don't know. And I tried to get to him once, and I couldn't get to him. But let me ask you a question. Steve Wynn is heavyweight. He owns casinos and all kinds of shit. If I tell you something that hurts Trump, do I get a piece of the casino? Do I get a very big, important job in the casino?
Right.
Then maybe if he wants me to lie, what's his offer?
Yeah.
Oh, Sammy, we can't use the word lie. I don't give a fuck what you could use. I told you 4 times, I don't know if the guy ever did anything illegitimate.
Right.
He didn't do it with me, and I tried to get into his pockets a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But he wouldn't budge. And I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to go up and gorilla the guy. I just walked away. There's other people. And I'm telling you that too. So if you can't use the word lie and he's not going to give me something for this, there's not even a negotiation. I didn't want the money. I wanted them to say, I wanted Steve Wynn or them to say, lie, and we'll give you X, Y, Z.
So were they ever offering you anything for your cooperation?
Oh, no. They
just
said,
want you to
listen,
cooperate
he
just
would
to
be
cooperate?
but they wouldn't pinpoint. He'll be very happy, Sammy. You know,
Okay,
there's
so
jobs
they're giving
there
you a
and
gray
everything.
area kind
Job's
of. Yeah.
my balls. I'm not interested in the job.
Yeah.
You're asking me to knock out a fucking multi-billionaire who's opening up casinos. What are we, playing marbles? I mean, you know, this is big money. I'm not going to, this is bullshit.
Okay. So that just fell by the wayside.
I dropped it and they didn't come back to me.
Got it. Okay. But ultimately, you and 40 other people got busted over this whole ecstasy ring.
Yeah.
Your son gets busted.
Yeah.
Your wife gets busted.
Yep.
Your daughter gets busted.
Yep.
You're caught on wiretaps asking your wife for 50 hammers, I guess, which is slang for 50,000. That's how she gets tied into that whole situation. And I guess your daughter's boyfriend was living with your ex-wife, and he was dealing drugs.
My
and
daughter.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
And ultimately, everyone gets implicated in this whole situation. When the dust settles, you get 20 years in prison. Your son gets 9 years in prison. And your ex-wife and daughter gets probation.
And my son-in-law, who's got the baby, black guy, I talked for him too. He got 9.
He got 9 years too.
Yes. Everybody all my family got a lesser sentence. What the deal was, let me get to the deal real quick.
Yeah.
They didn't have me at all. I asked my wife for 50,000. I'm in business.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask her for 50,000 to buy drugs. I asked her for 50,000. We're doing a business. So you don't know where the 50,000. They want to put it with the drugs. It wasn't with the drugs. So anyway, they don't have any tapes with me. They don't have any dealings with me, buying, selling, hanging out with them, doing anything. My lawyers tell me, you got this beat.
Sounds like it.
You got it beat. But you got indicted now in the state and the feds for that Zaba. So did your son.
Yeah.
And they raised the limit on your son to 45 years with the feds he's facing.
Wow.
And 25 years with the state that he's facing.
Huh.
What do they want? This is an ecstasy case. What do they want? They want you.
Huh.
They want you to cop out and admit to everything. You're the boss, you're everything. And what happens?
You cop out.
You cop out. Your son does 9.3, I think the actual sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Your son-in-law does 9.3. Your wife never cracked an egg. They got nothing with your wife, did nothing. She gets probation, even though she did nothing. Your daughter was pregnant the whole time. She's done nothing. She'll get 9 probation.
Mm-hmm.
What do
Right.
I face? 12 years on the low, 15 years on the high.
Okay, but that's not what you got.
Make the deal. Make the deal. They all get sentenced to that. Probation, 9.3, 9.3. I'm going to go get sentenced. There's a niche in the law. If I got a very lenient sentence on the first case where I got 19 murders, they could up with the part. And they did. And I got 20 years lifetime supervised release, and a $100,000 fine.
Well, and then you and your ex-wife had to pay $800,000 in reimbursement for the court costs too, right?
Well, yeah.
So that's like really
So I
$1 million.
lost everything. Houses,
Yeah.
cars, cash from that I wrote the book. They locked up 800 and something thousand. So I lost everything.
Right.
And I admitted to everything. And now it's completely over. I admitted to everything I didn't even fucking do.
I mean, just
But I
think,
got to watch my daughter
Yeah.
with a biracial kid and her husband. He's got to go to jail.
Yeah.
So I bail him out. I bail my son out because that's my son. So I take the weight. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, just think if you had just told your son, I don't want to be part of any of this, none of this would have happened on your end. I mean, he would have probably went to jail, but you would have
Oh, he would have went to jail.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would have boosted it up that much.
Yeah.
Because if I wasn't, they wanted me so bad. They
Yeah.
could taste me.
And they got you.
And they got me.
Yeah.
And they trapped me with using my kids and son-in-law and everybody against, we're going to hurt them all.
Yeah.
My wife don't even know what the fuck, I don't think she ever cracked an egg.
So now you're in prison. You end up doing 18 years.
17 years, 7 months, almost 18 years.
Almost
Yes, you're
18.
right.
Now, when you first go to prison, you think that the mafia is going to kill you.
On the first time, yeah.
Yeah. And you were prepared for this.
The first time.
Yeah. So you become cool with some of the other gangs. The Aryan Brotherhood and the Mexican La Familia.
Not because of the mafia. No. Because when I was in prison, I carried myself a certain way. I got along with the blacks very well. I got along with the Mexican mafia very well. I got along with the Aryan brothers. The Aryan brothers I'm tattooed up the yin yang. I was very friendly with them. They did tattoos with me. We played chess together. All kinds of things. So we became friends. Wasn't worried about in prison about no hit. And one day there was a hit on a guy, one of the Familia guys. That's like Mexican, that's an elite Mexican mafia group. And I had talked to this guy, Cornfed, who was a leader in the Aryan Brothers. And I said, I just found out this guy's I didn't know him personally. I said, he's going to get hit in the yard. So Cornfed said, Sammy, when you go out, he's right below you. Go to his window. Tell him I sent you to. And tell him about the hit. I did. I went in the yard. I banged on his window. And I told him, bro, there's something out. You're going to get hit. He cut me off. Sammy, thanks a lot, bro. I already know. So I said, well, Cornfed knows too, and he wants you to know that he's sending word too. He says, I love Cornfed. Give him my regards. I know. So that day, that thing became, when I walked in a thing, like Mexican Familia guys were in a cell, and I'm walking by, boom, they hit their chest, Sammy. So we became tight. Not that I needed them because any hits or anything like that. It was that. And the ABs, I just had a relationship with them for a while. And it's the way I carried myself in, I got along with, like I said, I didn't ask for nobody's protection, but I got along with the blacks, the Familia, and the Aryan. I wasn't part of any one of their groups, but I was friendly with them.
Well, I mean, you go to prison at age 57?
I think the pinch came in, I think I was 55.
Yeah, no, but then it took 2 years for the whole court case to go through. So by 57...
I never got out when I got pinched.
Oh, you got put in jail with no bond.
The minute I
okay.
got pinched,
Got it.
And at 55 years old, I never came back out.
Got it. So by 57, that's when your official sentence started with time served, right?
No, 57.
Well, 57 is when you were sentenced.
When I get sentenced.
Sentenced at 57, exactly.
Yeah.
But you're already in jail, so you get transferred to prison at 57.
Because in February of 2000, I'm indicted by the state of Arizona with the ecstasy.
Yeah.
January of 2001, the feds indict me on a mirror case with Zaga and them. I'm pinched in 2 cases now, mirror case. In 2002, the Iceman, I'm indicted on a cold case to kill a cop 23 years prior. I got 3 big cases going at the same time.
Right. Now, the Iceman case was all bullshit, right?
Yeah, I faced life without parole, but yeah,
Right,
I
but you had
wound
nothing
up
to
beating it.
You had nothing to do with that.
No,
Right.
no. But
Okay.
that don't really mean shit. There's a lot of guys I know in prison, believe me, who are doing time that shouldn't be doing
So it
time.
was still stressful, obviously.
Well, I'm facing life without parole, and I'm facing 3 monster cases.
Did you know the Iceman?
No,
Never met him.
no.
Okay. Okay, but what I'm saying is, by the time you really start serving your sentence, you're 60. You're basically in your 60s, going
I
into
don't
your
come
60s.
out until I'm 72.
Right, exactly. So you're an older man. You're still in good shape, but you're, if some crazy jacked up 20-something-year-old wants to go at you, you'd be at a definite disadvantage in prison.
Right.
So did anyone ever try to intimidate you,
I
extort
put
you?
my prison hat on. I tattooed it all over. And everybody, I told them, bro, I'll fight anybody. If I lose, I lose. I win, I win. If you overdo it, if I lose, I will fucking come back and kill you. You want to fight me? You won? Good. I'm gonna fight like a bastard. I'm up in age now. But if I lose and you start stomping my face or you do something crazy, you better kill me, because I will kill you. And everybody knew that. So I don't think anybody, and I'm a friendly guy. I'm a people's person. I don't think my shit don't stink. I'm Sammy the Bull. I never did none of that stuff. So I got along with people. And a lot of times when I did get into an argument, whether it was black guys or whoever, step to the plate, whoa, you're not doing nothing with him. Not that I asked them to, but we were friends.
Right, because at one point, the Aryan Brotherhood, their logo, one of their logos is Odin, the
Right.
the Norse god.
That's their god.
Right. And they allowed you to tattoo Odin on yourself.
Yeah.
Well, where is it tattooed?
On my own.
Got it.
Now, if you put a tattoo of Odin, they will cut it off.
Yeah.
So Cornfed said, Sammy, you're not one of us, but you're so close to us. We love you. We'll tattoo Odin on your arm, and we'll tell them that that's coming from us. I said, okay. And I tattooed it on my arm, and I was able to walk around the prison. All the ABs who saw it, they knew. Sammy's one of us.
Right. But the ABs also are a racist organization.
I don't really know if they're a racist organization, to tell you the truth.
I mean, they have the word Aryan in their name.
Yeah, the Aryan Brothers. But I was in jail with them. They deal drugs. They'll kill anybody. Every one of them is a killer. Nobody fucks with them in prison. I don't care what nationality, race. I don't care who you are. You have to be crazy to fuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
And but I don't know them. They had a lot of guys that they knew who were black guys that they were friendly with.
I mean, do they have swastikas and stuff like that on them?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's Nazi. That's with Jews and stuff like that.
It's also blacks. The Nazis hated blacks as well. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's
maybe
no way
maybe
around
the
it.
history of it,
Yes.
but not what I saw there.
Okay.
So it wasn't, maybe they didn't like some of them, but I didn't look at it as an out-and-out racist guy.
Okay.
And they would fuck with anybody. I don't care if you were Mexican, black. If you were on the bad end of them, they'll fuck with you. They'll kill you. But I didn't see, why didn't they tell me? I had a lot of black friends. Sammy, stay the fuck away from them. They never did that.
Mm-hmm.
They played cards with them. And I know that later in another prison, I met Cornfed, and he tattooed a black guy. How racist is he? He's doing that. His blood is coming out. He's wiping it. I mean, I don't see that as being a major racist guy.
Well, while you're locked up in this prison, in a whole different prison, John Gotti's still locked up. At one point, John Gotti gets beat up by a black inmate. Do you know what that was over?
Yeah, sure. He was racist in prison. He ran his mouth. They were gambling. Now they're in cells, and they call out numbers. They want to bet X amount of stamps, which is money in prison, on a game. So there was a guy, a black guy, who was, it's his turn to yell out his name. John Gotti interrupted, and the guy says, "Hey, it's my turn." And he says, "I'm John Gotti." And the black guy said something to him. He said something back to him, racist. The next day, they came out, and black guy, they fought, and black guy destroyed him.
Right, because Gotti was older by this point, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It wasn't an old man, but it was old.
Yeah. So because of that situation, he started to pay the Aryan Brotherhood for protection?
Yes.
Okay. And at one point, he actually...
Not only protection, he was paying them to kill this black guy.
Right, I was going to say that. So he paid him $25,000 to kill this guy.
Yes, he told him, "I'll give you $25,000 to kill the black guy, and I'll give you so much a month for protection."
Right. How much was he paying for protection? Do you know?
No.
No idea.
And how do I know that? That there's two of the Aryan brothers that he was dealing with flipped.
Mm.
And when they cooperated, they gave him up
Okay.
of everything they said.
Right, but he's already doing life in prison, so it kind
Yeah,
of
but
doesn't
not
matter.
only is he doing life in prison, he's dying of cancer.
Yeah.
So they put him down as an unindicted co-conspiracy. They're not interested in indicting him no more.
In prison, is $25,000, is that the going rate for a hit?
I don't know if it's a going rate. It's a good rate, I think.
Yeah.
You'll get guys to hit you. I mean, you know, you get guys who are fucking dead broke. They can't even eat commissary, whether they're black, Mexican, I don't give a fuck what they are. When they can't eat, that's a good number. And some of them guys are doing life without parole. They really got nothing to lose. So they'll hit you for that kind of money.
And how would you get them the money? You'd give it to their family, and then
John Gotti, tells his daughter to give this woman, who's Joe Blow's wife, the money, and he tells her who to send it to. Send him 2,000 or send me 2,000, send him 2,000.
Right.
Next month he may ask her to do. He's controlling that 25,000 from prison.
Right. And I guess if he doesn't pay, they'll just kill him.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Or they'll give him a fucking beating because they don't really. There was guys who are ABs. This guy John, who just wanted to walk over and just beat the fuck out of him, torture him, and shake him down.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the head ABs said, "No, this is perfect. What the black guy did was beat him up. We'll whack him. We'll get the 25K, and then we'll protect him. I don't want to go bully him in that way, give him a beating. But that was their first plan, was to give him a beating and shake him down."
But I mean, in gang politics, if the Aryan Brotherhood kills a black inmate and he's somehow connected to, I don't know, the Crips, the Bloods, the Black Guerrilla family, whatever else, doesn't that in turn into a war?
It could, yeah.
But I guess the 25,000 is
every
enough.
group has people.
Yeah.
But, you know, anybody who's been in prison and been there a while, these ABs, they're mostly all of them. Court feds got 3 life sentences. He came in doing a 20-year bit. He killed somebody, got a life sentence. He killed somebody years later again, and he got another life sentence. On a third time, he did it again. A guy like that, and the guy is big, 6'2", 6'3". They called him corn-fed because he didn't have working out. He just naturally, like a farmer, built. Natural. Just ripped. I mean, so they called him corn-fed, like he's a farmer with the natural muscles. No steroids, no even working out. He didn't work out. But he was a good guy overall. But listen, they're all got guys that it could be dangerous, and they respect those things. But if somebody deserves to get hit or something, you know, maybe this guy, they wouldn't care. Maybe they would ask somebody. Maybe they'll throw you a bone out of the 25. We'll give you 5,000. You don't have to do shit. Just don't interfere. We're going to whack them. There's deals that go across. Like I said, when guys don't have money for commissary to eat, they'll do things that, you know, for a lot less than 25,000.
Yeah, I mean, I interviewed Michael Thompson. He was a former Aryan Brotherhood leader. Are you familiar with him?
I know the name, but I didn't know him, no.
I mean, he talked about the organization. He was a leader in the organization, and at one point he moved away and he ended up testifying against them. But, you know, he talked about the drugs, and he also talked about the prostitution that the Aryan Brotherhood kind of runs in prison. When we say prostitution, it's males with other males.
Well, what you have is you have individuals who are either turned out or that they're gay by choice, and essentially they become the women behind the walls, and so they're prostituted along that line. So you have a stable, you have an individual that pimps that stable, and you have your revenues as a result of that. You know, the greatest value, I think, probably with prostitutes behind the iron gates is their resources, their source of information. You know, because they're intermingling with all the races, and they're gathering information. They're bringing that information by way of counterintelligence, even as it relates to staff, because they're also being prostituted to staff. So it is extremely viable from a business perspective.
Did you see a lot of that in prison?
Not with them, no.
No? Okay.
No. I never even heard of a prostitution ring.
Got it.
I mean, there was gay shit going on secretly,
Yeah.
but I never heard of anybody pimping somebody off. I never heard of that.
Okay. I mean, were you aware of rapes that were happening in prison?
Oh, listen, if you're really weak and you're sweet, and there's a guys, you know, I guess some guys would do that, some guys wouldn't. But you know, sex in prison, when you're talking about lifers, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. You don't have to rape them. There's guys who will do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Did anyone ever try you?
try me.
Yeah.
I fucked them to death. How about that?
John Gotti puts a $25,000 hit on the black guy who beat him up, but from what I understand, the prison found out about it and moved him,
Yes,
so they weren't able to get to him.
right.
But that gave him the idea to put more hits out.
Who?
John Gotti.
Why? I don't know.
Well, you said yourself that he put a $100,000 hit out on 4 other people, including you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about 4. Frankie LaCasio, he was going to kill. And Joe Watts, he was going to kill. He found out that Frankie LaCasio actually did have a conversation with me about killing John when we get out. And he put a contract on him. They locked him up under protective custody. Frankie didn't want it, but you have no choice in it. They locked him up, figured he was going to get hit. The other guy was Joe Watts, who he found out, one of the guys who were close with him, that he was a cooperator and he was getting information. John was telling him information from the prison. He'd get that information. Okay, bro, I'll take care of it. Boom, he would call the FBI in 2 seconds and tell him word for word what happened.
Yeah.
So it was Joe Watts, it was me, it was Frankie LaCasio. Who's the 4th guy?
I don't remember, but
Refresh
it
my-
was 4 people.
All right, 4.
But ultimately, none of those hits actually went through.
No. Oh, the black guy and
Yeah.
maybe the 4th guy.
Possibly.
No, that didn't go through either.
Yeah. So all of these potential hits that he was trying to put together, none of them actually came to fruition.
No. The ABs ratted on him.
So
Two ABs ratted on him.
right. When you found out that there was a John Gotti hit on you in prison, how'd you feel?
I didn't give 2 fucks. Now, the guy who tells me is the guy, Cornfed. Because Cornfed had AB guys on the street. Now I wound up like this with Cornfed. And he said, Sammy, I was supposed to give the thing out on the street to my friend and get it done because you were in Arizona. Now you're in jail, so, and I never got to it. I couldn't put it together, but he came to me.
Well, when you and Gotti were first locked up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, originally, he had a plan to escape from prison and then bribe the president?
No, I had a plan to escape from prison. I knew we were going to get found guilty. I got all kinds, fishing cord, I got all kinds of things. I was going to break out. I said, we're going to get...
You're going to break out with fishing cord?
I was on the 11th floor.
Okay.
I was going to send down a 100-pound test fishing cord. I had a cutter made. The glass is not glass. It's a mixture of glass and plastic. It's extremely hard. The only way to cut it, you got to heat it. We had the iron that we have. I could plug it in, put it on the window, heat it up, and I got this smuggled in. And I could cut the window. Flap it away, little at a time.
Okay.
Then got my guys. I had a spy microphone thing. And I would talk to them in the street. And I would tell them, okay, I have all that equipment now. What I'm going to do is I'll do that. I'll call you. You'll be in a truck. When I get that window open, I'll send down the fishing line.
You're going to rappel down the side of the building?
No, yes. But I will put the fishing line down. You hook up a bag with a gun, mountain climbing rope, and everything I tell you to put in it.
Oh, so you're going to pull up.
I was going to pull that
okay,
up.
Got it.
Tie the rope. Every so often there's knots. And I was going to do it. One kid who was going to do life without parole, some kid, he was coming with me. And I would do that. And I would come down the thing from the 11th floor. I met John Gotti in the hall, Sallyport. And I told him my plan. I said, we're going to be found guilty. The tapes are horrible. And as soon as we're found guilty, I'm not going to wait for them to sentence me. I know what we're going to get. I'm going out the fucking window. And he told me that's where the president, he said, Sammy, don't do that. He said, what if we fall? I said, case over, bro. Case over. We're on the 11th fucking floor. We'll be squished. Case over. There's no more case. It's over. Okay? But I'm going out the fucking window. He said, no, Sammy. We'll put together $5-6 million Clinton was in. We'll give it to the president, and we'll get a pardon.
Okay.
He's never going to give me and you a pardon. Are you fucking crazy, bro? He's never going to do it. And if he's that corrupt, he could rob. He's the president. He'll rob. He don't need us for our stinking fucking $5 million.
Right.
He could rob fucking $100 million. You get the $5 million. Good luck. I'm going out the fucking window. So that's where the whole window thing and everything came in. I'm going.
Okay, but it never happened, obviously.
No, it never happened. And, you know, it's funny because the judge found out about it, and I got called into a judge, and that kid was going to get sentenced, who was coming out with me. And he asked me, the judge, he says, was he part of your escape plan? And I said, Your Honor, when guys are facing life without parole, we sit, we talk, we have coffee, we bullshit out one another. We could never get out. Yeah, maybe we were playing cards and we talked about it, but he really, if you're sentencing him on that, you're going to hurt him. He didn't do it.
Okay.
I was going to do it, but he did nothing. I mean, and it's bullshit. And he didn't hurt this guy, by the way. So,
a few years ago, they made a John Gotti movie. And in the beginning of the movie, there was a song by Pitbull. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't know the song. What happened?
But in the song, you know, when Pitbull's rapping, he said, there's rules and codes. You don't break them for no one unless you're a fool, like that fucking prick, Sammy the Bull.
Who said that?
Pitbull.
Yeah. Well, you know, I didn't hear it, but fuck Pitbull and his ass. I mean, maybe he's interested in that prison where they're pimping people off or whatever the fuck he's doing. But fuck him and his ass.
Okay.
You know, it's nice, you know, I love when guys talk. They have a habit of talking about things and people and situations. You know, I love a guy who's talking about black people. He's a white guy. He never walked in anybody's fucking shoes. He never went to prison. He don't have a fucking clue what a black guy is. He doesn't have a clue what I am. He doesn't have a fucking clue. He's hip-hopping all over the fucking stage and talking big.
He's Cuban, I believe.
I don't know what the fuck he is, but whatever he is, he is. But, yeah, I mean, I didn't hear that song, I'll tell you the truth. So, whatever it is, it is. They could say whatever they want. You know, you hear all these things all the time. Like I said, you know, you got to walk in people's shoes and go through some of the things that these people went through. You talk about some black people come out of ghettos. Oh, that's hell. Go in a ghetto and live. Go before you open your fucking mouth about what he's doing or not doing. Go in a fucking ghetto. Go live there. See how you fucking feel.
Well, you said that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden are worse than you and John Gotti. You said that you guys look like choir boys compared to them.
Yeah, I didn't say about me and John Gotti. I mean, I think that we as thieves are like choir boys compared to them. We did crimes. I'll give you an example. We ran unions. Women's clothes, a dress instead of costing $16 cost $18. Bread instead of costing 18 cents a loaf cost 23 cents a loaf. We took our little piece. We ate. Other people ate. These administrations, these politicians want to eat all of the pie. They don't want people to eat. They just rob everything. And they don't care about nobody. Who dies, who lives. They don't care whether you're white, you're black, you're purple, you're green. They don't give two shits. They don't care about men or women or children. They care about power and greed. They care about keeping racist things going, people hating each other. They do that so that they can have their undercover shit while we're arguing. A black guy and a white guy, we're arguing about nothing. I don't even know what we're arguing about. And while they're stealing everything, they love that. That's their cover. Racists went away, in my opinion, a long time ago. When Obama came in, I thought it was going to be great. It's going to even get better. It get 15 times worse. He was horrible. Completely horrible. What did he do for black people? Nothing.
Well, I think he gave him a symbol of what you could achieve.
A lie of what you could do and what I could do for you.
Up until that point.
But never did it.
I understand what you're saying, and he didn't specifically help out black people, but, you know, you have a biracial child or grandchild?
Yeah, grandchild.
For the first time in history, that child could say, I could be president one day. Because up until that point, every president was white.
Come on with that bullshit remark.
Hey,
That's
man,
bullshit.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, anybody could be president anytime they want. Come on. Look, you got Joe Biden. It's better than any black person. If that could be the president, then anybody could be the president. Not that just because Biden got, Obama got in. Listen, I was in prison when he got in. Black guys were putting a picture on every cell I went in.
Yeah, I'm sure.
By the end of the first time or beginning of the second or middle, everyone I went in there, the rooms, the pictures were gone.
Okay.
No black guys that I knew in prison liked them.
Okay.
You got in, and you didn't do what you were supposed to do in any way, shape, or form.
We could agree to disagree on this.
Yeah, well...
I respect your opinion. I personally liked Obama.
No, it's not my... Yeah, it's that you like him. I'm not... You're not a black guy.
No, I'm not.
I know. But you don't know.
I do a lot of stuff in the black community.
All right, but what did he do? Tell me what he did. Tell him he wouldn't... What Governor Newsom's doing. What does he do?
Listen,
you're a Democrat?
Yeah, I'm a Democrat.
What is Newsom doing? He's going to run for president now. What is he doing?
Is he really going to run for president?
That's what they're saying.
Well, I mean, Biden.
You live in California. You live in California. Am I correct?
Yeah, I live in L.A.
What is he doing for you?
Listen,
what are you doing?
I'm not a huge fan of Newsom, but Newsom is not going to, as a Democrat, you can't run against an incumbent president unless the president decides to step down, right? Biden is going to run again. So
I don't
being
know.
a Democrat.
I don't know about that.
Unless he just feels like he's too old and he's not going to run. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, this conversation can go on for 3 hours. You know, we got a lot of cool stuff.
Let's get out of that.
Let's get out of there. When you were going through your first case, Giuliani was the prosecutor, right?
Not on my particular case.
But overall, though, he was the one that was putting RICOs on everybody.
He used the RICO law more than anybody.
Exactly. And now he's being charged with a RICO himself. And I remember he had made a comment that he would love to see you get 100 years.
Yeah.
Which you didn't get. You got, what, 5 years?
20.
No, before your first case.
5.
5 instead of 100. Now you're saying I can't wait for him to get 100 years.
No, what I'm saying is, I mean, you use this law, the RICO law, it's almost very hard to beat. It's not just against me. It's against Italians. It's against black. It's against Mexican. Mm-hmm. You use this law and put people away gloating about it. Now this law is hitting you in the ass.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, how do you feel, bro?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
You called him a fucking mutt.
He is a mutt. But he how does he feel? In other words, how does all those people you put away and gloated about it, you bragged that you would love to give me 100 years. You bragged about it. You said it. So now that it's in your lap, how do you feel? That law is horrible. And it's hurting you.
Yeah,
and you made the law.
I'm not a fan of RICO. I feel like RICO is overused. Whereas, you know, I mean, because the law was essentially designed to put people away that weren't directly involved in the crime itself.
Right.
They were just an association of the people who did crimes.
Right.
Which is so gray area and open-ended that a lot of people got caught up in the situation.
See, all they do is they turn around and they say, this enterprise, mafia. Mm-hmm. You use the black gangs, the Bloods, the Crips.
Yeah.
They're gangs. So anybody who's associated with them could be hit with this RICO law. So a black guy who don't know shit from Shinola who did what, he's indicted into this. He's sucked in like a vacuum cleaner. Mm-hmm. And they know that. Now, that's not fair. So my answer to him is, I know how I felt. I know how they felt. I've been in prison with them. How do you feel, buddy? Mm-hmm. That's all. Yeah. How do you feel about it now? Would you like to change that law?
It was too late now.
Yeah, it's too late now, and it's hitting you in the ass. So I don't wish him 100 years. I wish he drops dead.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the people that you dealt with while you were a Gambino. Roy DeMeo had a group called the DeMeo Crew, and they were notorious for the number of murders they did. They said that they killed 200 people. They had a club called the Gemini Lounge, and there was a whole system. There was the Gemini method, where they would get the victims in, somebody would shoot him in the head with a silenced pistol, the other one would put a towel on his head, and then go through this whole routine where they would chop up his body and everything else like that. Now, you actually knew Roy DeMeo.
Yes.
Is this the biggest psychopath that you ever ran across?
I got to think about it. I have ran across a lot of psychopaths, I tell you the truth. But if he's one of them, for sure. Yeah. See, there's a line with everything in life. There's a line. I think he crossed the line from a hit guy and became a serial killer. And that's, I don't know what that is. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. But when you cross that line and you're killing out of pleasure and not for reasons, I don't understand that. And that's, to me, very dangerous.
Right. I guess there was one time that you were hanging out with him, and I guess you were in a room with a bunch of older people, and he starts talking to you about potentially killing everyone in that room.
Mm-hmm. So I wasn't hanging out with him. We were at a meeting. He had a connection in one of the countries that they were smuggling cars into this country and selling them. So I was sitting down, I was an acting captain, I was sitting down with Louis Molino, who's a maid guy, and try to get into this a conversation with him on how we can do it, along with him, or just give us how to do it. But he was fantasizing. He was looking at the side. And I had said, the conversation got boring, this stuff, right? No, Sammy, no. Why? Yes. Well, I see you looking the other way. It's like you have no interest in it. He said, no. He said, you should look at all these people. There was a group of about 50 people, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. They were all old people, probably from some sort of home. And we knew they weren't agents, so it was a safe place for us to sit. The guy in the diner knew that, and he gave us that area. And he said, if I had 2 9mm, I could kill them all before they even get up. And I looked and I said, yeah, probably most of them would die of a heart attack. But then I told Louis, I said, listen, let's wrap it up. Let's go. And when Louis Melito got up, we shook everybody's hand. I said, did you hear what he said? Yeah. I said, bro, the guy lost his mind.
Right.
He's sitting here fantasizing about killing a bunch of old people. Who does that? Something's wrong with him up here. We got to be careful with this guy.
Yeah.
And later on, it comes out that he is a serial killer, and Paul Castellano ordered, and he was killed.
Well, right. Didn't he tell you that if blacks or Puerto Ricans would ever go into this Gemini lounge, that they would just kill him just to keep, he said, to keep his guys sharp?
Let's not make him a racist, because I don't think he was a racist. He didn't give a fuck what color you were, whether you were black,
well, but he said
or
that,
Mexican,
well, I guess,
or white.
I guess the story was that he felt that if he killed a black or Puerto Rican, there'd be less of a police investigation during that time. So
I don't know. I don't think he cared.
He just would kill people just for fun?
If you were in there, his uncle was the bartender. If you were in there for 4:30, whoever you were, or whatever color, or whatever race, or nationality, or religion you were, the uncle would call him up, we got one. So that don't sound too racist to me. Then he'd go in, he'd drag him out, and he'd kill him.
Just for fun?
No, when he told me about that, he said, Sammy, I keep my guy. I said, you're just killing innocent people who done nothing? I, as a matter of fact, yes. And why? Because they're black? No, I don't give a fuck. He says, so you're just killing people? Yeah. Why? He says, I keep my crew sharp. We're playing cards. I get the call. Stop playing cards. Come on, let's do this. They take him in. They shoot him in the head. They cut him from his neck right down to past his balls, open him up, hang him upside down by his feet in the shower. They bleed him out. Continue playing cards. So when they saw him in pieces, blood ain't squirting all over the place. And he said, you know what it is, right? And I humored him and said, yeah, I do the same thing. I get it. But I don't get it.
Right.
But I wasn't about to play with him with word. I just said, yeah, I do the same thing. I wanted to get the fuck out of that conversation right away.
Then there's Gregory Scarpa, a.k.a. the Grim Reaper. He was a hitman for Colombo boss Persico. He was also a capo. They're saying that he killed more than 120 people before he died in 1994. He would leave the number 666 on the pagers after they died. He was also called the Mad Hatter. How did you know this guy?
He's right from the same neighborhood. I knew him all my life. And he wasn't ever a captain. His son, Greg Scarpa Jr., was a captain.
Ah, okay. My mistake.
And then they didn't make him a captain. I knew him all my life, most of my life. I mean, I lived less than a mile away from him, where he had his club and I had my club. He's in the mafia, I'm in the mafia. So I knew him a good part of my life.
Right.
And he was very dangerous.
Do you believe he killed 120 people?
I don't know. I think he killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, there's a thing, a movie they made about him. What was the name of that movie? He went down south.
Mississippi Burning?
Mississippi Burning.
Right.
The feds, there's some black guys who were killed.
Yeah, okay. So the story is in Mississippi, a black kid and a Jewish kid got killed by the racist police in Mississippi who were tied to the Klan.
Not the Ku Klux Klan. I don't think it was the cops, but the Ku Klux Klan got these two guys, killed them, and buried them.
Yeah.
The cops were looking for them. They went down because they killed black people, and they were doing the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
They grabbed them, killed them, buried them. So now the feds went down. They couldn't find out who did what.
Right.
They had an idea. Greg Scarpa was an informant for years.
Right.
They spoke to Greg Scarpa. He went down. He grabbed them.
Yeah, he started kidnapping these guys,
Kidnapping
torturing
them,
them.
putting them a gun in their fucking mouth. I'll fucking, you're a cop. No, I'm not a cop. I'll fucking pull this trigger. And then I'll get another one of you fucking hillbilly motherfuckers. He says, until I find out what you did. So he worked with the feds doing that.
Yeah.
And I believe he did find out.
Right.
So this is Greg Scarpa. That, and then he's got a history of fucking killing people. So I don't know how many people he killed, I tell you the truth. But I knew him all my life. And he was dangerous, dude.
Right. He had AIDS as well.
Yeah, he got
AIDS. Blood
AIDS.
transfusion.
On a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
You know, he was going for an operation. He didn't want to take the blood from the hospital.
Yeah.
Because he didn't trust it. He got one of these guys, was a steroid guy, a big, huge fucking monster.
Who was HIV positive.
He
he
was
didn't
using
know, yeah.
the needle to put the steroids, and he got AIDS. He took his blood, pumped it into himself, thinking and got AIDS.
Yeah. Well, there was a situation when Scarpa ended up beating up someone at one of your clubs,
Yeah.
and then you had to go have a sit down with him.
Yes.
How did that go?
It went very good.
Yeah.
It went very good. His captain came down with my captain, and he had a beef and wrecked the club a little bit. Not wrecked the whole club, but did a little bit of damage. And they turned to me. He said, "But you make a decision. What do you want to say or do?" And I said, "Listen, I didn't know the guy said XYZ to him. I'm not happy it happened in my joint, but maybe I would have done the same exact thing he did. So I'm not mad. I don't need no money, no nothing. I don't give a fuck."
Right. Is it because you just didn't want to get into a war with the Grim Reaper, essentially?
No, because I respected what he did. He fought this guy who was out of order with him.
Yeah.
And I told him after the sit down, I said, "Bro, do me a favor, either don't come to my club if you can't handle yourself, but you're in my fucking club. Drag the guy out. You gonna do it in my club?"
Yeah.
No, I didn't give a fuck what he was. I mean, that's principle, and that goes in Australia. And I just didn't want to get another. We're all brothers in that life. I didn't want to get him in deeper shit that he was in, so I just ended it. I said I would have done the same thing if I was him. And they said, "Well, if you feel like that, it's your club, then it's over." And then he grabbed me on the side. He said, "Sammy, I'll never forget this." I said, "All right, good. But listen, you come to my club, behave yourself, or don't come. Go to somebody else's club."
Joe Watts. He was actually involved with you in the murder of Castellano.
We was 11 guys on it.
He was one of the 11.
Yeah.
He ultimately turned into an informant, right?
Yes.
That surprise you?
No. Well, I mean, it did at the time, but no. I mean, a lot of guys flipped in that life. A lot of them what became confidential informants, so you'll never really even know. You'll never even hear it. Some guys just flip and they just don't give a fuck. So I don't know. No, I don't. It surprised me a little bit. At first, he's a tough guy. But I don't think there's too many things in life that surprise me anymore.
Is he out now?
I believe so.
But you don't have any sort of contact with him?
No.
Do you guys have a beef or?
No.
No? Just don't talk to him. Okay. There was a Steven Seagal story that you said that was kind of interesting. Now, Steven Seagal was getting shaken down by Peter Gotti,
Yeah.
who was John Gotti's brother, who was the acting boss at the time.
Right.
What happens next?
Nothing. He testifies in court, Steven Seagal. And he didn't want to do it. He was scared to death. And I think when I said the story, he had some sort of, when you're young, you're a kid, you carry this little secure blanket, a little blankie or
Like
something.
Linus from the Peanuts?
Whatever. Yeah. Well, he had that while he was on the stand on his lap.
So he was crying on the stand with his
Crying,
blanket.
he had his little blankie, and he forced to testify. The government
What was he
forced
testifying about?
that they shook him down
Because he was getting shaken down by
by Peter
Gotti.
Gotti.
By Peter Gotti.
Yeah, by the Gottis.
What were they shaking him down over? Just money?
Movies. He was making movies. He was given an end of the movies for a long time. Then he went on this binge where he went to India and he was praying and he'd do all these things. He stopped and he didn't want to do movies no more. And they didn't like that. Peter Gotti didn't like that. And threatened him
Okay.
to start doing movies again and keep the money going.
Aha. Yeah, I mean, he lives in Russia now. He just I think he had some sexual assault charges or whatever, so he just bailed out. Last I checked.
It was it was a very, very stupid move. The guy was good. He was an actor. He was giving money. He was doing everything he was asked to do. He wants to quit. Throw him fucking roses, bro. You made a lot of money with him.
Okay.
Why you want to push him into something he don't want to do?
So he was just giving them money just from just general extortion?
Well, it started, he probably don't think it was extortion to him at all. Not that he was being threatened or afraid. He liked them. They were helping him. They did a few things for him. He was doing movies and it was funneling. And so it wasn't really the intimidation, but after when he wanted to quit,
Aha.
my thing is let him quit.
Yeah.
Say, bro, I appreciate everything you did. Maybe someday you want to come back and do movies. We can, we'll hook up again. Whatever.
So he testified against Peter Gotti, and then what, Peter Gotti went to prison over that?
I don't even know.
Okay.
That was one of his charges. I don't know.
Well, at one point there was a hit on Don King, a potential hit on Don King. What happened there?
Nothing. We had boxes. It's a long story. We had boxes. I went to a Senate committee over us. And he had Mike Tyson. And we wanted to have a fight, fix it, and do something, and a few things. And it got really, really complicated. It'll take me an hour to tell the story. And finally, he didn't want to do it, Don King. And I went to John Gotti. Some guy knew him. He was the mediator. And I said, he don't want to do it. He don't want to do it. So he said, threaten him. Yeah, the guy went to jail. He's a little bit of a tough guy himself, and he don't want to do it. He said, okay, the guy, the Connect guy, have him tell him, do it. You have to do it. John Gotti wants you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If he says no, shoot him in the fucking head and kill him.
Don King.
Don King. I said, John, you want us to kill John King, bro?
Don King.
Don King, I mean.
Which is the most high-profile boxing promoter in the world at the
I
time.
know, at that time. So anyway, he said yes. So I went to the kid and I said, listen, go to him, ask him, put a little pressure on him, take your gun with you. And if he says no, shoot him in the head. The kid got like really panicky and took off. I never seen him again. He took off. He wasn't about to shoot him. He took off. So John said to me, what happened? I said, the kid took off. I don't know where he is. He's not doing this, and I'm not doing it. We got to leave us alone.
Okay, well, because did John want you to then go kill Don King?
No, I mean, he would. I mean, I did work. I'm a hit guy. He could have turned around to me and said, you take him out.
Okay.
I wasn't talking with Don King. So, I mean, that's why I said.
Okay, so you wouldn't even be able to get that meeting. I see what you're saying.
No, I wouldn't be in that meeting. I could get him. I mean, but I told him, bro, leave this alone.
Yeah.
Don King's in his own world. He does his thing. Whatever he don't want to do, he don't want to do. So.
Joey Merlino?
Well, I mean, I could talk a little bit about Joe Mill. You know,
Okay.
they say he's a boss, and he's doing sports shows.
He's the Philly boss, they say?
That's what they say.
And now he's got a podcast.
And now he's got a podcast. He's doing sports shows and stuff like that. And it seems like everybody's all right with it. I'm all right with it. We could do whatever he wants.
Okay. You talked about the Jimmy Hoffa murder, and you said the Irishman is just nonsense. And I've heard this multiple times from different mob guys that I've interviewed.
No, he's not. He has nothing to do with Jimmy Hoffa.
You said it was some Genovese guys.
Yeah.
Do you know that pretty much for sure, or is this just a guess?
For a fact, but I wasn't there. I can't say I was there, but
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about. I was the underboss at the time. I know everything that went on there with that. It wasn't them. It wasn't him.
So the fact that they never found the body, if you were just to guess, you weren't there, but if you look at how the Genovese operate, what do you think they did with the body?
It was in Ohio. They would bury it right there. They'd get rid of the body, whether they bury it or whatever they do with it. There's stories that they drove him all the way back to New Jersey. Who in the fuck in their right mind would kill somebody, put him in a trunk, and drive 400 miles or 500 miles with a guy in your trunk and take him back for what? To show him? He's dead. We buried him. They know people out there. There was a mob out there. Maybe they own a farm or something. They buried him. But the story that came out, the Irishman didn't do it. And they didn't bring his body back and bury him. It's stupid. Doesn't even make sense.
Right. So they'll probably never find the body.
No, by now it's completely... I mean, you could find the bones if it's not been dissolved, if it's just buried. You could find bones and you could probably do some sort of a DNA type of thing. I don't know.
We interviewed this guy named Nicholas Irving. He was an Army sniper, a black guy. They called him the Grim Reaper. He has 33 confirmed kills.
In the military?
In the military.
Yeah.
They asked if he would compare what you do or what you did to what he did. And he said it's actually somewhat similar.
I think it's very similar.
Yeah. He didn't talk down on your situation. He goes, depending on how you look at it, it's really the same thing. He's being told to go kill this guy he's never met because his superiors is telling him that this person is posing a threat.
I agree.
And he goes and has to take someone's life.
I agree.
If you're in that organization, let's say like the mob or whatever, and you're a foot soldier, you're a hitman, you're out there doing what you have to do, you're not killing innocent women and children. I assume not. You're going after your enemy, whoever your rival is. If that's your ideology and that's what you believe through and through, who am I to say that's right or wrong? You're just doing what you believe is right at the moment. We were given a specific person, people to go after, and that's what we did. No questions asked. No one bats an eye. I was a soldier. If you refer to that, you have an organization, you're going after your enemy because they did something or whatever. Yeah.
I say it all the time. I'm a soldier in Cosa Nostra. I was a soldier in the military as well. So I understand that whole thing, and it is. He's a sniper. He's trained. He's fighting for his country, he believes in the United States, believes what he's being told, and he's a hit guy. He goes out, he plans, he does what he does, takes it out, boom. I was a soldier of Cosa Nostra. My government was Cosa Nostra, the mafia, not this government.
Yeah.
The mafia. That was my government. It's part of my heritage. It's part of everything, and I'm not a sniper, but I would have been the same exact thing as him. I do the same planning, the same thing. I'm focused. I'm focused on you. Every fucking move. I don't think about nothing but you. The only time I start thinking about anything else is after you're dead. I will follow you. I will know you come here. I will know who your wife is. I will know who your kids are. I'll know what schools people are in. I'll know everything about you. And sooner or later, I will know where I'm going to kill you and what time I'm going to kill you. And I'm going to kill you. It's the same thing as he's doing in the military. The only thing he's going to get medals for it. Me, I'm going to go to prison for it.
Yeah. Because you've admitted to 19 murders.
Yeah. Now, I'm involvement in 19.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Out of the 19, which of those did you admit to actually pulling the trigger yourself?
No, I don't even want to discuss those things because
fair enough.
It's families and people I got to hit again. I've talked about being part of the whole 19 murders.
Got it.
And it really doesn't matter what part you're in.
You're still a part of it.
I think the easiest part, the dumbest part, is pulling the trigger. The planning of this, like I said, doing all that planning is not an easy thing. It's doing it. It's getting away with it. It's getting all the other people who I'm involved with, my crew, away with it. Everybody positioned. I have people positioned. You can push me over. I trip. You open the door. When you go out, he's there. When he flounders over, he's there. And somebody's waiting in the parking lot. You're finished. You're not getting away.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at, for example, the Iceman, he figured out at one point that pulling a trigger was not the best way to kill people. He started to use poison and different types of dust, poisonous dust and everything else like that. But all the murders that you were involved with was essentially shootings?
Yeah. But let me tell you something about the Iceman. And that's one of the things I'm working on. He is a fucking fake.
Okay.
He killed a couple of people for bullshit. Bullshit money. Borrow $1,500 off of this guy. You can't play him. He calls him up. Come in, I'll see you tonight. And he kills him. It's a fucking piece of garbage and a liar. He's another guy admitted to 200 murders, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, some crazy amount.
Yes, a crazy amount. He's a fake.
Okay. But why, as you're developing your career, I mean, guns are loud. There's gun residue. There is, witnesses around. Why not use a different method that's more stealth than a gun?
Like what?
Like poisoning, like that type of thing. Does that just not work in real life? Is that all kind of fantasy?
That's mostly fantasy. That's not only fantasy. That's CIA. That's government type of things. Do that kind of bullshit. I mean, the mafia guys, we don't do that. It's mostly a gun. It could be a knife.
Okay.
Listen, I could bust your fucking head wide open with a hammer.
Yeah.
I mean, but you don't want to be gory. I'm a hit guy. I don't enjoy this. And even when I'm doing it, even back then. Now I changed my life. I want nothing to do with it. But I never enjoyed it. It's not something if I die, I hope it's with a fucking bullet, a 357 Magnum right in the back of my head. It's like the whole world exploded. There's no expression. There's no nothing. It's instantaneously dead. There's no pain. There's no suffering. There's no nothing. So it's not as brutal. It maybe makes noise. There's certain guns you could put a silencer on. You wouldn't hear it. If somebody did something in that next room with a good silencer, you won't even know what happened. So there's that. I mean, there's a knife, but that's close. That's a little bit of combat, struggling, fighting, this, that. A gun is just, it's lights out.
Did you have a preferred weapon that you would use time and time again, or did it not matter?
It depends. I like a 357 Magnum. I've used a 38. I use a 32, different kind of guns. But a 357 Magnum is just so fucking powerful. It's lights out.
Yeah.
It's like an atom bomb just hit this room. Everybody in here, we're just dead instantly. You don't know you're dead. You don't know after you don't feel pain. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's over. So.
You're 78 years old right now?
I'm 78. I'll be 79 in March.
Do you think at this age you could still do a hit?
I can, probably beat you up and then go do a hit right after that.
Okay.
How about that?
All right.
I'm in good shape for my age.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, but I'm in great shape. I never got fully out of shape in my entire life. I was always a workout guy. I went in the ring. I fought in the street.
Yeah.
And always kept my clothes get a little tight. Watch what I eat. not to try and do a diet, but, I don't like getting overweight or too thin or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've always done sit-ups, push-ups, boxing, jumping rope, swimming.
Yeah. I interviewed Teddy Atlas. You guys trained together at one point.
Yeah.
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 We didn't get too deep into that story, but I know that you guys did train together at some point.
Yeah, we did.
Yep. I remember there was an interview you said that you were watching TV and the whole David Koresh thing came on TV. The Camp Davidian, remember how everyone died, how he told everyone that he was Jesus, and hundreds of people, I believe, died in the process, including children, women, everything else like that. And you're watching it and you're saying, wow, how could someone be so brainwashed by a guy like this? And then you realize that you yourself were brainwashed.
I think that everybody's brainwashed to some sort of capacity. Now, again, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but we grow up and we listen to our mother and father who mean well, but maybe it's not the right thing. Our friends and neighbors have a big impact on us. It's not brainwashing like David Koresh. And I don't know if he brainwashed them. They believed in him.
Mm-hmm.
They prayed with him.
Yeah.
I don't even see where he did all that wrong. He might have had, they say had sex with kids. I didn't see that when I watched it. I didn't hear too much of that. Some of the people who survived didn't talk about that. Yeah, he was the God. He was the Christ coming back.
He also built a massive arsenal of weapons.
Yeah.
A massive, which is how he got, which is why the FBI showed up and ultimately how the shootout started.
Yeah, but they were making innuendos to him that they were going to come, they were going to attack, they were going to do this, they were going to do that, and he started getting weapons. He was going to fight back.
Yeah.
So, go into a black neighborhood and tell this neighborhood, I'm going to take your fucking neighborhood over. Now they'll become like David Koresh. They'll say, no, fuck you. You're not coming into my neighborhood and taking us over. This is my daughters, my wife, my kids, my friends. What if they fucking load up?
Well, it's a little bit different.
Of course it's a little bit different.
Generally, when you look at like gangs like Crips and Bloods, and I've talked to, I've interviewed a lot of these guys. If you're in a Crip neighborhood and like the Bloods show up, you could be outnumbered 10-1 and they will shoot it out. One cop will roll in and everyone will scatter. People are generally, in these types of neighborhoods, they're generally scared of the police. They'll generally bow down to the police. David Koresh took a whole different path.
What if the police are telling them, we're not going to come in with one cop. We're coming in, we're taking you over.
But that was happening.
Whole fucking
with the battle rams and everything else like that. Like that was happening in the 80s, the crack era and everything else like that. That was really happening. But you didn't see these massive armed shootouts against the police in these neighborhoods like what happened with David Koresh.
Why did all those people stay and die with him?
Because they thought that they were all going to heaven. They all believed that this was Jesus.
Maybe that's where they are.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe that's where they went.
Maybe
but
they're
they
all
believe in him.
Right.
So they didn't believe what we told them.
Right.
He's a nut and should never do it.
But the point is that isn't that similar to what you went through? Like you have to, when you got sworn in as a made man, they said, if your mother is dying on her deathbed, if your kids have a terminal illness and you get a call, you got to drop that and you have to put us over your own family. Isn't that a similar type of thing?
Without a doubt. But it's an expression. In other words, when I'm telling you how important this brotherhood is, I'm telling you that this is above God, country, and your family. If you're in a hospital with your son who's dying or your mother, and the boss calls you, drop what you're doing and come in. This is number one in your life. Now, reality, if your son, God forbid, is dying, or your mother, I'm not going to call you. I'm just putting that in you to give you and make an understanding of how important this is.
Well, but to be fair, and this is not just the mafia, and we're not just talking about your situation either. You know, I interviewed a guy that was a high-ranking guy in the Nuestra Familia, and he talked about a situation where one of the members, their mother, was cooperating with the police, and they told him that they have to kill his mother, and he said, "I understand." You see what I'm saying? You could say all this is all make-believe, but these real-life situations where you have to potentially kill family members and you have to put the gang over your own flesh and blood, this actually does happen, and there's a practice of it. And like I said,
Yes,
it's your
it could-
situation, which we're not going to get into, but I'm saying
it could happen.
and it does happen.
But you have to understand, if you're taking that oath and coming in, he or she or him is your brother. Just as important as this person who broke fucking rules is going to die. I'll give you an example. I was in jail and I had the library I was in charge of. There was a guy, JB, a heavyweight mob guy in the old time who was older than me. And another guy, Beggs, from Chicago. We were sitting, talking, having coffee. And we were talking about the underboss of the Cavalcanti family who did some gay stuff. And they killed him. So the conversation came up and I was sitting there. And I said, I knew him personally. I don't know if that's even true, but...
Is being gay a death sentence in the mafia?
Let me finish, then you'll see.
Sorry.
So he said, well, it had to be done, Sammy. Why? We took some woman's word. Why does it have to be done? Because he's gay. It's an embarrassment. All right. Okay. JB, let me ask you something. You're going to go home before me. You got a couple of kids, don't you? You got a son and a daughter or something? Yeah. All right. You're going to go home. Your son's going to come to you and say, Dad, I'm gay. I'm going to come out of the closet. Are you going to kill him? Come on, Sam, he's my son. How about your daughter? Your daughter tells you she's gay. Come on, Sam, he's my daughter. The fucking guy we killed is our brother. By our blood, our oath. We killed him. Then what do? He was the underboss of the Cavalcanti family. Take him call him in. We're not going to kill you. We're going to take you down. You can't be the underboss. We're going to take you down to become a soldier, friend of ours, not even a captain, friend of ours. Keep it on the side and put shade on this, bro.
Or you just have to leave the organization.
No, you don't have to leave. You don't even have to. Why?
I don't know. I don't know how these rules...
what you do or he does behind closed doors.
Right.
You're not going to come to a sit down in a fucking dress. We're going to kill you. So, I mean, but there's no reason to kill him. He's our brother.
Right.
And whatever it is. So when he looked at it that way, the guy from Chicago said, Sammy, what would you do if you were the boss then? I would call him in a fucking room, and some woman said they went to a swingers club, and she said that she was banging two guys, and he went and was sucking somebody's dick. So that's why we killed him? Because she said it? She's not in our life.
Yeah.
We didn't even give our brother a chance to talk, to defend himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put him in a fucking room with a gun on a counter. He comes in. We're bringing her in. And tell him, you're not going to die. Just tell us the fucking truth. You'll be brought down and put on the side. But if you say she's lying, we'll get her out of the room. We'll bring her in this fucking room. There's the gun on the table. Walk over, get the gun, walk over, shoot her in the fucking head. We're all leaving, and you kids get rid of taking care of this body and all. Or tell us the fucking truth. You're going to kill this woman for nothing. She's telling the truth. That's what you do. And it's his fucking job to kill her and clean it up. So he's got it thinking, I tell the truth, I'm not going to die. I don't get in trouble. I'm put on the side a little bit. And I don't have to do this. That's what you do. Then, if you say, no, she's lying, then we call her in the room. And we talk to her. And we see for ourselves what we think, if she's lying or you're lying.
Yeah.
If we think you're lying, you're going to kill her anyway and clean it up. If we think you're lying, we're going to kill you. And her. Because look at the meeting you put her in now.
Yeah.
She's never going to leave this room anyway.
Right.
So the guy from Chicago, Badge, says to him, that's why John Gotti shouldn't have been the boss. You should have been the boss. That's fucking unbelievable thinking. But that's the way you think.
Wait, so did John Gotti?
No, John Gotti's not in it.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
He's just saying you
I
should
see
be a
what you're saying
boss
in
if you
general.
think that
Okay.
way in general.
Got it in general.
You know, but you can't just kill your brother because some woman said, what if some woman tells me something about you?
Yeah.
Why, I just believe her? We're friends for 20 years. I don't see no sign of that. I don't see no problem with it.
Has there ever been an openly gay made man in the mafia?
Yeah.
Really?
But they put shade on it, yeah.
Who?
There was a guy in the Genovese family, and there was the guy in the Cavalcanti family who was the underboss.
Okay.
And she said it on a live television show. The girl that his girlfriend.
Okay.
She was in it. They were in the swingers club. She was having sex with two guys.
But the other guy, who you mentioned.
Yeah, I don't even remember his fucking name. And it was in Chindiganti. They put him as a soldier. And low key, what the fuck you doing, bro?
Okay.
And you'll be okay. We're not going to kill you for it.
But
if you go
he can't
stupid,
he can't maintain the position he once had.
no, he can't be a captain, underboss, Gunzier, underboss, boss. He can't be in any of those positions.
Got it.
No.
Final question. The mafia today, you're no longer affiliated, obviously. Is it still around? And how different is it from when you were doing it?
Yeah, it's still around. It's nothing like it was, for sure. No way could you come out and talk, or guys talking about sports and other things that are going on, and they don't kill now. It's a totally different.
Well, so they don't
when
kill
I was-
anymore in the mafia?
No.
Because it's just too hard to hide it?
It's not just, there's so many cooperating secret informants.
But there's also
confidential
cameras, there's cell phones, there's
and-
triangulation, there's
right,
the
say 80
internet, there's
80
everything.
million things. Look at that football guy that one time. He went to kill somebody. He was a famous football guy. And
Aaron Hernandez?
Yes. And his phone put him right to the joint. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard. Today there's cameras all over the place. And then, you're facing a life without parole. If somebody knows about what you did and they get in trouble, they got to get out of jail card free.
Right.
Hey, I'm pinched for drugs. I'm facing 30 years. I know who killed Joe Blow. Now it's commonplace. It didn't happen years ago.
Do you think that right now in 2023, you could kill somebody and get away with it?
Me?
Yeah. Right now, if I gave you a hit, I said, listen, I'm going to kill your whole family unless you do this for me. You have to do it.
Oh, I would kill you in a minute.
No, I understand
You've been
that.
telling me that.
Right. No, but I'm saying, do you think you could do it and actually get away with it?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
In 2023, with cell phones and cameras and the street lights have cameras on them and there's satellites and everything, you think you can get away with it?
Yeah.
How so?
I'm a hit guy, bro. And I look at detail. I'm a detail guy. I just don't go walking in a place and kill somebody. But I've changed my life. I won't not do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you, and a couple of people that got mad at me, you try to hurt me or my family, I will kill you.
As you should.
It's not like I can't.
Yeah.
I won't. I don't want any part of that life. I love people and exposure. I was coming here, I was talking to a couple of your friends before you got here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a people's person. I'm not somebody who wants to hurt people.
Right. But you also, even during your heyday, you weren't the type of guy that if someone stepped on your shoe, you would go and cut their throat.
No.
That was never your
Listen,
MO.
I would fist fight in a hot minute. But I wouldn't want to kill a guy. When I fist fought, if I won, I'm not going to stomp him unless there was a major reason why. I wouldn't stomp him or do this or do that to maim him like a fucking ghoul. I would fight if I won. We'd probably walk away, shake hands, it's over. To me, it's over.
Yeah.
Even whether I won or lost. And that's not important to me either. I just want to fight. When I fight, I want the guy who I fought, not where he don't want to fight me again. That little fuck, he just don't stop. And you ever see him boxing guys at the end of a fight, they're both beat up, they hug each other.
Oh yeah.
They respect each other's will.
No, I just interviewed Evander Holyfield, one of the greatest boxers of all time, and in the class act of class acts. Like
Yes.
I've interviewed a lot of boxers. I've interviewed him, Tyson, Riddick Bowe, Larry Holmes, and after every fight, including Mike Tyson, who bit part of his ear off, he said, "I forgave him."
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, you know something? When I was a kid, I bit my brother.
Right.
So it's kind of karma in a way, and I wasn't mad at him, and we're cool to this day."
Yeah, I think that Mike Tyson bit him out of frustration.
Yeah.
He is a tough guy, Mike Tyson. I think he realized he's not going to beat him. He can't beat him.
Oh, we talked about that.
And when he got in the
fight,
corner, the frustration of it, he bit him.
Well, yeah, I mean, Holyfield basically said that he knew that he was going to lose. So instead of legitimately losing, he just did something to get disqualified.
Yeah. No,
And Teddy Atlas even said before the fight that Tyson is going to get disqualified. He called it before the fight, and he was right.
Well, I mean, if he knew he was going to bite him. But he
didn't know he was going to bite him. He knew he was going to do something to get disqualified because he felt that Tyson could not take on Holyfield.
Well, then he was right.
Yeah.
With the frustration of not being able to get him.
Right.
He couldn't nail him. He's too good of a fighter.
Exactly.
And he was winning.
Both times.
And he got right. And he was so frustrated when they finally got into a clinch. He just bit him.
Twice.
Not well.
Remember, he bit him twice.
All right.
He bit off part of his ear once, and he bit him again, which is how he got disqualified.
All right.
You know? But the point is that after every fight, Holyfield said, "I don't have any problem with this guy. I respect him.
He's a champ.
He's
he
a real
walks away,
champ.
win, lose,
4-time
draw.
heavyweight champion.
And that's how I feel I fight. And that's what it is. I'm not going to bite someone. I'm not going to, maim somebody. I win. He wins. It was a good, clean fight. You won. I shake his hand. Great fight. But he's going to know in his head, he'll have a lot of respect for me.
Yeah.
Even that I lost and he won. If he's a real man.
Yeah. There we have it. Sammy the Bull, thank you for coming in for the second time. Congratulations. You have your own YouTube channel.
Yes, I do.
Which is actually doing very well. A lot of these videos are over 1 million views. Seems like you've built up a real audience. Congratulations on turning your life around.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you, your team, great team you're working with.
Thank you.
And adios, motherfucker.
Peace.